Hey guys, it's Flower Friday, and the letter of today is C, because today we're going to be planting climbing roses, cosmos, and castor beans. Now, before we go any further, I know I'm going to get some comments on castor beans. Yes, I do know that they are in fact poisonous, and I grew them for 6 years, 8 years at my old house, and I'm going to be growing them here in the tropical garden. Mainly because they are a very quick plant to grow here, and they'll grow into a tree in the first year. I had my dog out and chickens out supervised, and they never bothered them ever. The chickens looked at them a few times, but never, plucked the leaves. The dog saw the beans on the ground when I was cutting off the flowers, and he never touched them. But if that's something you're concerned about, then definitely don't plant them. But I think it's amazing how many plants we grow in our gardens that actually are poisonous. So anyway, I have some cosmos here and some castor beans. This is a red castor bean, and the cosmos is called apricota. And I have started both of these from seed, and we're going to plant the cosmos in the ground today, and then the castor beans I'm going to actually pot up because the tropical garden is not ready yet, and so they need to go into pots. Much like I did with the climbing rose, our third C of the day. This is a David Austin rose called Wallerton Old Hall. As I said, it's a climber, and I bought it bare root when I bought all of my other roses in January, and I potted it in this pot to hold it over because its final location was not ready yet, but it is now because I've worked a little bit more on the thatch roof. And so I don't need to get under here anymore to do the thatch, so I can plant the rose here. But first, I want to take care of sowing the seeds that I need to sow. So the two varieties of cosmos I'm planting today are Black Magic and Rubinato. Now these are both way too dark for the cottage garden. The apricota is going in the cottage garden because it's the color scheme that I'm looking for, kind of pastel-y. These are definitely not pastel. So these are going to go in the vegetable garden as companion plants. Now to start my seeds, I'm going to be using these self-watering trays from Gardener's Supply. I have mentioned them a couple times before, and I will probably mention them another million times because they really gave me the confidence to start seeds in general, but mainly flower and perennial seeds that I've always had problems with in the past because I always forget to water, especially seeds. If it's not automated, chances are it's not going to happen. And so when I found these, they were the answer, at least in theory, to prayer. But then when I started using them, game changer. And I know a lot of you have now tried these, and I'm hearing from you that they are changing your seed starting life as well. Basically, it's a 24 cell tray. Then this is the water reservoir here. There is a capillary mat, and then a little stand that holds the capillary mat out of the water. So you put this stand in here, you fill it up with water just to under that stand, and then you make sure that part of this mat hangs down the edge of the this into the water, and then lay that down. Now it soaks up the water, and this mat is constantly wet. When this sits on top, the potting mix inside here will wick that water right up into here and always keep them the perfect moisture level. And it, like I said, it's been a game changer for starting any type of seed. I started all of the cottage garden plants, perennials and annuals, probably over 200 plants. And I started that in these over the last couple of months in the garage, under a grow light, or even out here once the weather started warming up a little bit. And I'll leave a link down below in case you guys want to check these out for yourself. All right, I'm going to label these first. Do not make fun of my writing. I love cosmos. They're easy to grow from seed. They make a great companion plant because they can grow up to 4 feet tall, typically between 2 and 3 feet though. And yet the plant is really light and airy, and it doesn't crowd out anything else around it. It just kind of grows up through and around it and produces the flowers well above the plant. So you don't have to worry too much about what you plant it with because it's just going to behave itself. And and not mess with the plants next to it. And they'll bloom from now through the end of summer. And if you keep deadheading them, they'll bloom until frost. They are great for attracting all kinds of beneficial insects like damsel bugs, big-eyed bugs, hoverflies, lacewings, and parasitic wasps. Now, cosmos do like full sun, and so you don't want to companion plant them with any plants that are a lot taller than them. Now, I've sown these into pre-moistened potting mix, and these will only take about 7 days to germinate. Technically, right now, it is warm enough outside to just grow these out there, but I've already got the grow light on for the peppers, so I'm going to take advantage of that and the extra warmth of the garage. So this is the humidity dome that comes with these trays. That'll stay on there for, well, until they're germinated, and then that'll come off. All right, now we're going to find a place for these cosmos up in the cottage garden. There's my blue jay friend. And I know some of you corrected me on the last video. They are not actually called blue jays, they're scrub jays. But they are blue, and they are jays, and that's what I've called them all my life, so that's what I call them. So just looking through here for a place kind of halfway back, because like I said, they're going to get about 3 feet tall. Move the mulch away and dig a little hole. Great root system. Mulch back. All right, I managed to scrounge up 12 pots. These have already got roots growing out the bottom. It's a very vigorous plant. You can tell why it's going to reach tree size by the end of the year. I'll loosen the roots up a little bit. Set each one just in the pot, and then I'll cover them over. All right, just going to water these and the cosmos in, and we'll head up to plant the climbing rose. All right, I'll let those stay out here. It's been overcast. It will be overcast for the next few days, so they'll be fine hardening off that way. And here I've got zinnias and hibiscus and all of my pumpkins that we're going to be planting in a video later this week, so stay tuned for that. Now let's get up and plant the climbing rose. All right, so this rose is going to grow up this wall and up the roof of the gable. This is kind of a northwest facing area. And so I want to kind of scoot the rose out so it can take advantage of as much sun as it can get. Once it goes up on the roof, then it's going to have as much light as it needs. But Right now, I'm going to scoot this out. Plus, I still have to finish off the bottom of these walls. So I think I'll go ahead and plant it kind of just right at the edge of this wall here. And I'm using a gopher basket. If you have gophers and you have a permanent addition to the landscape like roses or trees, you might want to consider making some of these. I will leave a link in the video description to the video that I show how to make these. This is really great soil. Now, let's see what the roots have done. I'm pretty sure they haven't filled this pot. Well, not bad. That's great, okay. So then, let's check the height. Let's put in a little more. Now we want to just plant this. This is already planted right at the where the graft union would be, or the crown. And so we want to make sure that's right there at the level of the soil. I'm going to aim it where these taller branches are kind of aiming that way, where they're going to grow upward, and not aiming them this way out into the path. Just keep pressing down to make sure all the air pockets are out and it's going through the wire and touching the root ball. Technically, I would have made this basket a tiny bit wider than this, but this was the last of the wire that I had. I will be hooking this up to a drip system in the next couple of days, but for now I want to make just a little berm around there to water it in well. Put the label in there and give it a good soaking. And then we'll finish it off with some mulch. All right, so that's the last of the roses to plant for this year. There will be more next January when it's bare root season again. So let me give you a look at all the roses that we've planted this spring and late winter. All right, so this one again is Wallerton Old Hall. That is going to be a climber. It's going to climb up here, just kind of ramble a little bit along the edge of the roof and the gable. And then right below that, we've got the Alnwick Rose, which is just getting ready to bloom. And then right over here, we've got Olivia Rose Austin, which already put a ton of blooms on this year. And now it's getting ready for its second flush. On the other side of the path, we've got Vanessa Bell, which is a nice creamy, buttery yellow color. And then right over here from that is Anne Boleyn, which needs to be deadheaded, but she's bloomed her socks off this year already. The plant has probably grown the least of all of them, but the blooms, it's bloomed more than any of them. And it's right here next to the salvia, which is about the same color as that rose starts off with. And then just down from that one is Windermere, and this is actually the first bloom for that one. It's like a light, creamy apricot. And then up here against the run, we've got 3 Perfume Breeze, which is a climbing rose. So these will climb up the main supports and kind of grow along the top. We'll give the chickens some shade, and of course the rose petals are edible, so give them a little bit of snacking in the summer as well. All right, so Flower Friday comes to a close. Of course, the letter of the day was C for cosmos, climbing roses, and castor beans. If you learned something, please give the video a thumbs up, share if you like with a gardening friend, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time.